Breaking down technology barriers. Our next guest is a veteran radio broadcaster and was awarded for his contribution to the preservation of Jamaican culture and music. I am speaking about and to none other than Patrick Lafayette. I have to sing it, because that's how I heard it for years. Hey, Patrick, good morning.
Morning, beloved. How you do?
I am so happy to see you and to speak with you this morning.
Thank you.
This conversation comes at the heels of a discussion we just had with Christine Hendricks about persons with disabilities and how they are managing in COVID. But even before COVID, there were challenges. So I want to talk to you about, first of all, what was the transition like for you when you lost sight? What was that like for Patrick?
Oh, man. I guess it was a traumatic period for me. I was age 16 at the time, in the midst of being a teenager. And, with all of that, thankfully I had family and friends, a good support team to bring me through that. But you see, for me, there are like two major categories of blindness. There's low vision and there's no vision. And within the visually impaired community, you have those who are born in that realm of being no vision or low vision. And oftentimes they'll grow and become accustomed to it because it's not a shock situation. That's what they know. And then you have those in the midst of some vision or of life, I should say, like me at age 16, who would either go low vision or no vision.
Yeah.
And then you have the older set of people because of, illness, diabetes, etc., that will also go low vision and no vision. But for any one of those categories, it's still a traumatic experience.
Yeah.
Blindness is never a good thing.
But it's an experience, Patrick.
It's an experience.
I find that it can sometimes make or break you. For you, why did Patrick believe that, listen, I can be a broadcaster, and not just a broadcaster. I'm heading down to Radio Jamaica to be a broadcaster. Tell me about that.
You see, one of my greatest influence in my world is being a Jamaican. Jamaica. It's one of the greatest. It is the greatest place on earth. Yeah, for such a small place. And my entire life has always been to give back as much as I can to Jamaica. And I was in college in the U.S., and I came to Jamaica in '83. I was going to be a lawyer, man. I was in the criminal justice realm.
What?
But listening to radio, back then you only had JBC and RJR as the two major stations. They had FM stations, Capital Stereo for RJR and JBC Radio 2 for JBC. And when I listened to it, man, I said, boy, I'm a radio fan. I listen to music all the time. But here I am listening to FM station, and when the music done, them start playing the label. Shh, shh, shh. So I said, nah, man. And I applied to both of them for an internship, but only Radio Jamaica came back. So my profound thanks to the former chairman, Lester Spalding. He took a chance on me as a blind person.
Yeah.
And I ended up changing the face of radio in Jamaica.
You
because
did?
AM was the most senior. That's what everyone listened to, AM. FM was a secondary entity. And when I started in '83, they put me in the night because, they figured, boy, I'll get trouble on blind people and all of that. So Don Topping was the then station manager, and he put me midnight to 5. But after 2 weeks, people were complaining. They called Radio Jamaica to say that their workers weren't working because they were up listening to someone you have on the radio. That's when Radio Jamaica decided to focus on FM, and we made that change to Fame FM in 1984.
That's right.
Change the face of radio. So FM is now a major player in the business.
Major. And I'm glad you reinforced that this morning. Fame Prince, Patrick Lafayette. And Norma Brown and them. Yes.
Yeah, man. Norma Brown, Jeannie Hastings, Alwyn Scott, Joan Johnson.
Roger
Hamilton.
We could name names, yeah.
We could name them.
You could name names.
Yes, Derek is also, Wilkes is also.
Yes. We're in the time of technology, and we're just talking to Christine about that, the digital divide. You are I mean, for you, technology is second nature, Patrick.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
tell us
yeah.
a little bit about your love of technology and how you have been able to enable others and people in the visually impaired community as well to navigate technology.
In a way, well, let me not refer to it as technology. For
Okay.
me, it's give knowledge, because I'm not take nothing from the body. Yeah, yeah. So with my level of give knowledge, it saved me at age, well, in 1989, it saved me. That's when I first started being introduced to accessible technology, text to speech for computers. And as soon as I got the knowledge, run come to Jamaica and went to the Society for the Blind and tell anybody who want to learn, come. I have a laptop, I have a desktop. And that's when I started teaching at the Society for Blind for free every Saturday. Started with 25 people. People like Dr. Hickswell Douglas, the Senator Floyd Morris, Sidney Thorpe, Wilbert Williams, and the list goes on and on and on. And I gave them the knowledge. As soon as I get it, give it. In 2009, when I discovered cell phone technology, same thing. When I discovered iPhone technology, same thing. So you have a lot more iPhone users and Android users in Jamaica, through my knowledge and as much as I could give with that. You see, my thing, put me on an even path with a general, normal, quote unquote, normal person. I can compete. If I get the tools and the accessible access, I can compete. You have some brilliant, brilliant disabled folks out there, my sister.
Yep, yep.
Low vision and no vision. Brilliant. And I've met some brilliant people. So, yeah, I bring the technology to them as soon as
Yes.
I can.
Yes. You had the opportunity to work with Apple. I'm hosting an interactive session on podcasting. Tell me about
Yeah.
that.
Apple Apple came to me in 2017 and selected me as the representative for Global Accessibility Day.
Wow.
I'm very proud of that. Out of how many millions of blind people across the world, they chose
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
They did a video. It's still on YouTube for folks who'd like to see it. Just go to YouTube and look for Design for Patrick and the letter L, and you'll see it. With all of that, I've been doing some on and off stuff with them. The COVID situation has slowed down somewhat, some of the stuff, but I was invited to Soho, one of the largest stores in New York, to present something about me to the audience. I chose something that I thought would give people parity, both disabled and non-disabled. And because we're in the time of podcasting, and that's something, it's a level playing field that just about everybody can do. I demonstrated an accessible podcasting tool. And one of the great results of that, I must tell you, my sister, in teaching some blind folks how to use that tool, some of them have become some serious podcasters now. Mr.
Wonderful.
Wilbert Williams has done his 100th podcast, and he is expressing the history of the Salvation Army School for the Blind, which there's no real history on it, and he's one of the oldest remaining visually impaired student from that entity, and he has his own podcast
Wow.
as well of a number. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Wow.
the whole idea is to integrate, and give access to, because once we get the access, we can rock.
Yes. Yes.
We can rock.
And do so very well. I mean, I said broadcaster, but I don't want people to think Patrick was just on air. Patrick helped to start KLAS, Cool 97, and a number of stations. He is
Yes.
prolific. Listen, when I wanted to do my research and I needed Miss Lou tapes and couldn't find them nowhere, I said, Patrick Lafayette, do you have this in your catalog? And he said, sending them now. He's that great a person. So awesome. Neville Bell said to big you up as well this morning, Patrick
Oh, that's
said.
my brother. Give him my love. Yes.
I will, my love. Great to see
Yeah.
you. Keep doing the good work.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. And may I say one thing in passing?
Yes.
Blindness is not the end of your life. It's not. It's a gift from God. You get a different kind of insight. And what's happening now is a lot more people, because of age, diabetes and the style of living, a lot more people are getting visually impaired and blind.
Yeah.
A lot more people are afraid to share this because that's how we are as a people. We don't share our problems too much. Don't sit home and wither. Contact one of the agencies, the Jamaica Society for the Blind, Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities. If you want to do so privately, may I state? Please, because I can't
In a
see people
second,
suffer.
because we're heading to news.
A telephone number,
Yes.
876-358-2466. 876-358-2466. If you get to that level, call me.
Awesome.
Take care of yourselves. And thank you. God bless you all. And God bless Jamaica all the time.
You too, Patrick. Patrick Lafayette, CEO of Twin Audio and veteran radio broadcaster. Breaking down technology barriers. Patrick doesn't believe in barriers. Still to come, NEPA shares the details about permit renewals. But first, here's News in 5.
Thanks for joining us for your News in 5. I'm Giovanni Dennis. The high number of people requiring medical help at hospitals has, in some instances, prevented nurses from being able to take a break to get vaccinated against COVID-19. Nurses Association of Jamaica President Patsy Edwards-Henry says the number of nurses who have so far been vaccinated is a bit lower than was expected. She told our newsroom that the heavy workload was a factor.
Because you would understand that the hospitals are full to capacity. So at some point in time when nurses were supposed to have gone to take their vaccines, they couldn't have left their posts. But the uptake is good. I'm not concerned yet. We started on Wednesday. By tomorrow, we should have some numbers as to the percentage of nurses vaccinated. But for now, from what I'm hearing, it's good. And even in terms of adverse reactions, we are not hearing much of that.
The Health Ministry is looking to complete vaccination of healthcare workers and other critical service groups by Friday. TVJ News has been informed that the shortage of medical oxygen at public hospitals has worsened over the past 24 hours. Hospitals in Western Jamaica are now on a desperate quest for oxygen amid the surge in COVID-19 cases. Director of the Western Regional Health Authority, Errol Green, says the Cornwall Regional Hospital is limping along despite getting supplies of oxygen twice per day. He says it's also a worrying situation at other facilities.
The situation in Savlamar, which is one of our bigger hospitals, I've been getting reports over the past few days, getting reports up to Sunday evening that they were almost out. They would have been out, all things being equal, by Sunday evening. The situation is worrying. We're appealing to IGL to see what can be done to improve the situation in the Western region because we are desperate now.
He says IGL is the only supplier to the hospitals. He's urging other entities that may have access to medical oxygen or are able to sell to the region to make contact.
There are other companies in Jamaica that can assist and provide. We'd be happy. I will take the rap of engaging them even, in this time, even if it means I would have to look at the procurement issue in a different way to respond to the emergency. But we definitely would have to be very appealing to anybody who can help us at this time to see what can be done to ease the situation.
A JDF soldier is dead after he was swept away by currents while swimming at a beach in Hope Bay, Portland on Saturday. The deceased has been identified as Otis Duncan from the parish. Reports are that Mr. Duncan and some of his colleagues went to the beach for a swim. While in the water, he reportedly got into difficulties.
Some persons from the area say that they saw the unit, 3 cars, with some friends. Right, so to my understanding, once I heard the scream and I got the message later that someone had drowned, then I figured to myself, then this must be the area where the scene has taken place.
At about 10 o'clock Sunday morning, another search was launched to locate the soldier's body.
I see a white shirt floating in the water, and I say, I'm not leave until I see exactly what. And when time the wave draw back, I see him and I shout out, same time I shout out and say I see him, go in the water and hold him and dry him up. And Danji and seawater come and give me help same time, bring him up on land.
In news overseas, there are fears in Hong Kong that a fifth wave of the pandemic could be descending on the city. The government is locking down 11 residential buildings as new cases emerge. Residents will not be allowed to leave and must undergo mandatory COVID testing. It comes after the city reported its highest number of cases in more than 6 weeks, many linked to a cluster at a local gym. Around 360 people have been placed in government quarantine facilities. In sports, cricket analyst Christopher Gale believes the appointment of Barbadian Craig Brathwaite as West Indies Test captain could mean that Jamaica's John Campbell's days are numbered. After impressing selectors as a stand-in skipper during the tour of Bangladesh, where the West Indies recorded a 2-0 series win, Brathwaite was installed on a full-time basis last week, replacing Jason Holder at the helm of the West Indies team. But with calls over the past few months for a stronger opening pair in the Windies batting order, Gale says Brathwaite's appointment means only one opener can be replaced.
Craig Brathwaite now named captain of the team, a new role, a role that now guarantee him a spot in the final 11. And now what it does, it also puts some pressure on John Campbell, who has played I think 13 matches. He has an average of 24, just the 2 half centuries, nothing to write home about. So I think it's another opportunity for John Campbell to impress these selectors again. I think he's under a lot of pressure to do so. The good thing is that he has been given a vote of confidence, in my view, as there is no other opener. So you expect him to play both test matches in this series.
The first game of the 2-test series bowls off on March 21 at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium. And that's our news in 5. I'm Giovanni Dennis on behalf of the entire team. Have a wonderful day. Stay tuned for Smile Jamaica. It's morning time with Neville and Delia.